Hey everyone, welcome back to the NFA Review channel. Today we're going to review the Dead Air Wolverine PBS 1. Wolverine! If you've been in the suppressor game for any amount of time, you already know who Dead Air is and their product lineup. So I was very happy to find out that they were coming out with a AK-47 specific suppressor, because these guys are AK fanatics down to the core. If anybody can do it right, it's going to be them. And they address all the problems that come along with suppressing an AK, which we're going to cover in this video. But for now, let's go ahead and get down to the specs. The Wolverine ships with a manual, of course the suppressor itself, beautiful. A takedown tool for the thread insert. It comes with one 14mm insert, and then you can purchase extras. I have a 24 and a 26 for the various AKs we're going to be running. It comes in at a length of 7.4 inches with the thread adapter inserted. The small portion of the tube comes in at 1.5 inches and the wider area at 1.93 inches. Comes in at a weight of 19.8 ounces up to 24 ounces depending on what mount you're using on the inside. The baffle stack is constructed of 100% fully welded stellite. The tube is stainless steel, finished in a black high temperature Cerakote, and then the small parts here on the locking rings are a black nitride. All this comes in at a caliber rating of 7.62 by 54R with no minimum barrel length restrictions, which I fully expect from Dead Air because they build these things like a tank, and with a retail price of $1,099. All right, there are two major issues when suppressing an AK-47. Overpressure and barrel concentricity issues. Now you might be thinking, I already have a 30 caliber can, I can just throw it on my AK. Wrong. First, you're gonna have to send out your AK to a smith to get the barrels, to get the threading checked, make sure it's concentric to the bore, and then you're still gonna have the problem of a gun that's running too much pressure. So what Dead Air did is they tackled both of those issues simultaneously. So their baffle stack is designed to where the bore aperture from the muzzle to the end of the can actually widens and opens up. So that's going to help with any left to right movement of a bullet where the threads aren't correct, and the pressure at the muzzle will be lower than a can where the baffle stack stays the same aperture size. What they wanted to do when they were testing this gun is make all the dB readings at the shooter's ear below the OSHA standard of 140 decibels. They want this thing to be enjoyable and safe when you shoot it. Put a standard can on there, you're gonna have too much pressure. Might sound good here, but last time I checked, you don't shoot it like this, so you want good numbers at the ear. All right, so mounting this to your host firearm might seem like a daunting task at first, but luckily Dead Air included a manual with the suppressor. Unfortunately, they're so hardcore, Kalash life, it's written in Russian. But luckily for us, oh, and we got a ration card for our potatoes and toilet paper, so they definitely have a sense of humor still, as we all know. But luckily for us, there is an English section, and I already learned how to use the mount, so let's go ahead and get started. The rear mount is comprised of a couple different parts. You have the lock ring, the collar, the threaded insert, and the wire spring inside. To change out your mount, which we're going to because it's shipped with the 14mm insert, undo the lock collar until you start to see the exposed threads, and then you're going to want to compress the spring and line up the collar with the dimple. The collar will come off, you can remove the spring, which got it on there, and then what you do is you actually insert this part of the tool into a vise. Okay, the tool's in the vise holding the can, and then you take a socket to unscrew the threaded insert. Mine's already loose for the sake of the video, and it just unscrews like so. You're gonna want to throw some anti-seize grease on here, guys, okay, so it doesn't seize up. And then we're just gonna pop in the 24mm thread insert that I have for the AK Guy 300 blackout converted AK-47 that we're gonna be shooting here shortly. Screw that in. You're going to want to tighten that down with a socket. Throw your spring back on. And now this is where you need to pay attention when you throw it on, when you thread it onto the gun. When you take the collar, line up the dimple with the dimple on the tube. Get on there. Compress it. Now you have 3 settings. Position 1 is right here. Position 2 and 3. So position 1 is going to have these teeth extend over the pin on the barrel. Position 2 will pull it back so you can unscrew it and screw it onto the gun easier. And then there's position 3. Okay, so I'm going to put it way back here on that position. Throw this lock collar on just so it stops rattling. Screw it onto the gun here. Okay. Once you're in this position, the manual suggests you go ahead and tighten it down with a wrench. Now, to ensure that it doesn't loosen, go ahead and throw that lock collar all the way down, and you are good to go. This cannot loosen under full auto fire or anything like that. Once this thing is mounted, guys, it is not going anywhere. I mean, it is set it and forget it stable. You don't have to worry about it. Now, to take it off is pretty simple. Throw that lock ring back again, exposing enough thread so you can compress the spring that's underneath the locking collar. Okay, go ahead and move that out of the way. And then what you're going to do is compress the spring and bring it to position 2, which allows the little teeth here machined into the collar to move out of the way from that pin underneath your barrel. And then the can just screws right off. That's all there is to it. It looks daunting at first, but once you read the manual and you look at it and you handle it, you understand how this works, you see just how stable and how well thought out this suppressor was. Speaking of which, let's go outside and see just how it sounds. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. This thing is super fun to play with. I will admit, when I got it, I was a little intimidated because it's, you know, I don't really have much experience with the AK, but after you get to know the can and read the instructions and really use it and mount it on host to host, you get an appreciation for this was the only way to do it, and they nailed it. Like, they really nailed this can. There was a void in the market for a can like this. And Dead Air nailed it. Like, there's no other option now. It sounds great. The back pressure is low. I didn't have any discomfort in my ear, especially shooting those 220 subs from Freedom, the Hush. I mean, it sounded great. I don't know how it's going to translate well on camera. It should translate well, but man, it sounded good. Again, if you follow the instructions correctly and you tighten down the threaded insert when you move it over to the can for another host, when you screw it on a Serbian M92 like I have here that has left-hand threads, that threaded insert will not come loose when you use the wrench and shoulder it to the gun. So again, take your time, learn the can, learn why they did the things they did, and it become very apparent to you, like it did to me, that they thought this thing out through and through. Check the video link below, and I'm going to put all the promo codes in there for all the channel sponsors that I have. I don't get a kickback, guys. It's just a way for me to help them for sponsoring me, and a way for me to help you for subscribing to my channel and supporting me. You guys are all awesome. Click that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.